is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and you're listening to No BS Job Search Advice Radio, and watching it is a Google Hangout at Hangouts with Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It's a time where I like to spend about 15 minutes on a Monday morning speaking with you about some element of job hunting, because I believe job search doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be difficult. It takes so long. Ooh. It's just the skills needed to find a job are very different, but complement the skills needed to do a job. And that's where this show, my other one, which is called Job Search Radio, I consider that one my flagship show. That's on webtalkradio.net. This one and that are both in iTunes, Stitcher, the BlackBerry Store, and a couple of other podcast directories. So, what I try to do is take a little bit of time talking with each of you, talking on each show about some aspect of job search to try and make it easier for you. Now, this show is brought to you by two sponsors. The first one is Audible. And if you go to audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter and sign up for a free trial, you'll get a free audiobook as part of that trial. And I know you like audio. You listen to this podcast, you listen to my other ones, you like the spoken word, maybe even like me a little bit. So again, audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter. My second sponsor is consultingassignments.com. That's a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm, and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world, completely free. Posting a job or a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is free. The only thing the site charges for is if you're going to feature a job or a resume, it is $10 for 30 days. And the price will decline per unit if you sign up at time of registration for more than one job. So again, consultingassignments.com. So I'm going to do two parts to this show. And sometimes when I've done my commentary about the job market, I take an entire show for that. But this one doesn't deserve that much attention, and you'll see why in a second. The other one is about some of the mistakes I see with LinkedIn profiles and what people do with LinkedIn. So the job market is really very simple and very straightforward. The report came in on Friday. The number of new jobs created was down from previous months. Previous months were revised down. There was all sorts of, woe is us. The economy's slowing down. The job market is slowing down. It's that bad cold weather, like winter doesn't happen in the United States every year. And every year, it's used as an excuse, at least by this administration, for why the jobs numbers go down. In fact, I think there's another reason for why the jobs numbers are going down, and that is the Census Department, which collects the data on jobs. I'll put it in relatively blunt terms, has been exposed as providing fraudulent data, and is having trouble meeting its statistical objectives to poll 90% of individuals that it's supposed to survey. The result winds up being that they went so far as to go out on a limb and, excuse me, I'm having a problem with something on my system that I have on at the same time. So that's where I have one of my comments about the about LinkedIn. So my apologies, it kind of threw me for a second. So at the end of the day, what I think, I apologize, there's some noise in the background from this particular problem that's occurred in my system. So anyway, what's ultimately happened is they couldn't hit their numbers. They're supposed to hit a 90% exploration rate, and they haven't been able to do it. So they went so far this month, it's the month of March 2015, it was released at the beginning of April, and they extended their polling period 2 extra days. Now, there are 6 districts in the United States that are used to poll data. And at the end of the day, none of the sites were able to hit their number. None of these districts were able to hit the 90% rate mandated by law. The result winds up being throw the entire report out. It is an irrelevant report. It's a statistical anomaly. Maybe, I know every recruiter I met with in Denver 2 weeks ago is experiencing a big uptick in employment in the United States. Things are going well, and I think if you focus on that jobs report, you're going to make yourself crazy because the government is having trouble collecting data. So just hear me out. What's going on is an improved economy for hiring in white-collar skills areas. Even recent new grads are finding an uptick in hiring in half of the last 12 months. Don't pay attention to the government numbers. Instead, pay attention to me and other third-party recruiters who are telling you that things are getting better. Okay? Now, let's go into LinkedIn mistakes people make. The first one is having an incomplete profile. You have a lot of space to work with. Don't waste the space with nothing there. Use it. You have a summary area. Use it. That line underneath your name. Think of it from an SEO standpoint, from a search engine optimization standpoint, with LinkedIn as your search engine. What are people looking for when they're looking for someone like you? And keyword enhance that headline underneath your name with those keywords to call attention to you and your capabilities. How do you do that? Simple. Start looking at job ads, start searching LinkedIn, start looking at people that you know who do the same kind of work and how they describe themselves, and use similar terms underneath your name. You want to start making available the ability to, how do you call it? Let me make it simple. You want to SEO that line underneath your name in order to attract attention to yourself, because you want to be hunted on LinkedIn. You also want to hunt, but you also want to be the hunted on LinkedIn. So take advantage of that real estate and complete your profile and use as much space as possible. Number two, people sometimes don't put up a picture. A flattering picture of yourself. And I'm not talking about the wedding picture where you're in the tuxedo or in the gown, but a quality professional headshot. And I have to tell you, if you can afford a professional headshot, get a professional headshot every few years. It makes a huge difference in terms of how you're seen. That amateur selfie that you might put up isn't as good as you think it is. So get a good picture taken. And don't ignore the opportunity to put in a friendly picture. Take a look at my profile, linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Use that as a benchmark. I think it's a great shot of me. Another mistake people make is no sooner than they get connected to someone, they immediately start selling them. Hi, endorse me for these skills. I got to tell you, if you're in Mumbai, I'm in the United States, how could I possibly endorse you for those skills? Now, I don't want to discourage any of you from trying to rig the LinkedIn system. I know people are trying to do it all the time by having people endorse them who don't know them, but frankly, when I spot it, and I do spot it pretty regularly, those examples. You're in California, they're in Mumbai. How do they really know squat about your ability to do development work? If you've never worked at the same company before, come on. It's a joke. So don't rig the system. Don't immediately try selling people on the idea of endorsing you for skills. Another mistake people make is they have inaccurate information on their profiles, wrong dates, brief job descriptions for what they've done. Those 2-line or 0-line descriptions underneath a particular employer, I just want to shoot myself, at times when I look at these profiles because they don't tell me anything. So you want to have accurate information, excuse me, excuse me. You want to have accurate information on your profile, one that is consistent with your resume, because I spot these all the time. A person says one thing on their resume and something different on their LinkedIn profile about their dates of employment. And like I said, I just want to kill myself when I take a look at a profile and there's no information there whatsoever. And if you tell me, well, maybe you're a third level connection or not connected to me, so you can't see anything. Well, I'm going to let you in a secret. I've got a LinkedIn recruiter account. I see everything. So, make the point of having your resume and your profile congruent before you start sending out your resume, because we're all checking for inconsistencies. Another thing people make the mistake of doing is having infrequent status updates. Put some information out that you think would be interesting to your audience, because part of what you're trying to do is get yourself branded on LinkedIn so that people get to know you and to get to think of you as a thought leader on LinkedIn. So make that point of having regular status updates without crossing the line into over posting. Also, LinkedIn and Facebook are not the same. Contests, math problems, the nonsense of Facebook does not belong on LinkedIn. You make yourself look foolish when you do that. Another mistake people make is, sometimes they become hypercritical. It doesn't happen often, but I've seen it enough times where, they cross the line in my mind, beyond negativity to snarkiness toward other people on LinkedIn. This is a professional network. You have to conduct yourself as professional. If you disagree with someone, that is perfectly fine. But you can always broach the subject as, have you considered that this is a possibility, or have you considered such and such? So, recognize that what you're supposed to be doing is creating a great impression. You don't want to hit people over the head and be so critical that you're going to drive people away from from you. Also want to remind you that if you have a resume online, make the point of putting a link to your resume online into the summary area. Make sure you also have your phone number and email address in the summary area of your profile. The idea is make it easy for people to reach you. You're looking for a job, or you want to network to a job. You want to hear from people who are trying to fill jobs. Make it easy for them to contact you. I'm spending a lot of money to get this particular LinkedIn recruiter account, but not everyone has it. Make it easy for them to reach you. So I know I've tried to cover a lot of material on this show in the middle of my sneezing and my computer problem. I hope you found it helpful. Also want to encourage you, come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us, and go exploring. I've got a lot of great content there that you can watch, listen to, or read to help you find work more quickly. So again, that site is thebiggamehunter.us. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request at linkedin.com/IN/the-big-game-hunter. I accept connection requests from people worldwide, except if you look like a spammer or scammer, except if you're a third-party recruiter. And follow my firm, The Big Game Hunter Incorporated, because you'll get notices whenever I do new YouTube videos, as well as new positions I'm recruiting for. So again, that's The Big Game Hunter Incorporated. Final points. If your firm is trying to hire someone and want to help, call me at 646-374-8656 or email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. I'd love to help your firm staff positions. So I'm Jeff Altman. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'll be back next week with more no BS job search advice. Take care. Have a great day.